Hi, I'm Marco Polo, a famous European explorer. I traveled at a young age to China and I got to meet the famous Kublai Khan, who was the ruler of the Mongol dynasty. We became great friends. After my travels across Asia, which later became known as the Silk Road, I returned home and wrote an awesome book about my adventure. And I'd love to tell you all about my life. Well, I was born in Italy, in the town of Venice in 1254. Ha! Check out my flag. Pretty cool flag. That right there is the Lion of St. Mark holding open the Gospel. Over here you got the 7 different province capitals of Venice. And you know, a lot of famous people came from Italy. I bet you guys have never heard of Giacomo Puccini. He was a famous opera composer. He wrote a very famous opera called La Bohème, and I bet you've never heard of it. Well, anyway, that's my home flag. And I was born into a wealthy merchant family. And I spoke Italian and Latin. Ciao, bella pasta pomodoro. Well, my father and uncle were always traveling, trading silk and spices. So, I wanted to go with them, and at the age of 17, we left from Venice and we traveled across Asia. And our journey lasted for 24 years, and we spent 17 years in China, hanging out with the Great Khan. And while there, he had me become his special messenger and his tax collector. Now, we collected a lot of jewels, a lot of gold, and we decided that we would want to share all this information that we learned on our exploration with our family and friends back in Italy. So, we returned after many years back to Italy. But when we got back, there was a war going on, and I became a captain of a boat that got captured, and I was put in jail. And while I was in jail, I wrote my stories about traveling across Asia, and it was put into a book written in French called La Livre des Merveilles du Monde, or the Book of Marvels of the World. Well, in 1324, I died. Sad, I know. And while I was dying, people came and tried to convince me that my book was fake and it was fiction. And I told them my famous last words: "Have not told half of what I saw." So, that's my life. From start to end. Pretty exciting. And almost 100 years later, famous European explorers read my book, and they too got inspired to go set off on a journey and explore. Well, thanks for watching. Ciao!